What's red and bad for teeth?
I have no idea.
A brick!
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
But I like wasting your time. I like it. I like it. I like it. We're going to waste your time just like we do every week. Instead of a useful, productive hour, it will be replaced with two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions that they have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. With that said, if for some god-awful reason you enjoy wasting more of the precious little time you have on this earth, like, I don't know, waiting for the Republicans to openly debate about their new secret healthcare bill. Remember, kids, the only people that need to know about the content of a law are the ones voting yes for it. Search for another wasted hour on all social media sites and share, follow, mention, like, and review us. Also, please subscribe to Another Wasted Hour on iTunes, Google Play Music,
Don't die.
or Stitcher, and review us there too. Our goal is for Victor not to die of suffocation.
See if I can make it. We'll get there.
And to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture, as impossible as that may seem. So, listeners, now that you know why you're here, I'm Keith, and across from me is my co-host, Victor. Victor, why the hell are you here this week?
I got a scan today. I found out the sex of my child.
The sax of your child.
The
That's what I
sex of
heard.
my child.
It's a blues child.
I know you love me, Keith,
Yeah.
and you love me so much. I'm going to make another little mini Victor just for you.
That's horrifying.
Oh, yes.
I believe that's called spreading. That's like,
Starting an army here.
what you have is what is it? Patient 1, right? There's patient 0. That's you. And you've made a patient 1. And now it's going to run out into the world and try to make other patients. Let's hope that that's like 18 plus years out.
Warning, you have begun the epidemic. You know?
Lock all your doors.
Oops.
Mm,
I'm also here because I have a joke.
Please tell me your
I'm
joke.
made of jokes today.
Yeah, this is great.
What's brown and rhymes with Snoop?
I don't know. I'm saying that while I'm lying. I totally know this one.
Well, I'm going to pick our lovely guest today, Maryjo.
Oh, Maryjo, yeah.
Might it be Dr. Dre?
It is Dr. Dre.
Maryjo was told, okay, don't talk until we introduce you, but her arm went up like a shot. Like, I know this one.
I know this one.
All right, how does Hitler tie his shoes?
With his armies.
Oh, that's pretty good. No, with little Nazis.
Ah!
All right, Keith. Now you know why I'm here. Why are you here?
I'm not.
All right. Well, that settles that.
What you're seeing is a figment of your imagination.
I'm gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to get some serious.
You're not even here in the
medication for this.
studio. You are sleeping right now in a drunken haze of bourbon and cough syrup.
Would it be nice?
It was all done. You were drugged by your unborn baby.
Nah, man. What is it they say at the end of Seven Psychopaths? He's like, yeah, so I had this idea for one of your characters in your book. I know you said that dream sequences are for fags, but I feel like I got a pretty good one. And he goes off, and it's like the masterful ending to the whole movie.
Does it end with ba-da-da-da-da-da-da?
That is exactly how it ends. The guy with a mullet and sunglasses, leather skin-tight pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of sexy sax solos, we have Maryjo Mattea here in studio. She is a member of Maryjo Mattea and a Pile of Dudes. As you may have guessed, she is the former, not the latter. So, Maryjo, why are you here this week?
Well, I was thinking to myself, you know what I need to do on my Monday night?
Rhyme with Snoop.
Drive to Reston.
Right. The thing nobody ever says.
Exactly.
Hey,
You would be
Reston
great.
is a happening town. They have Bar Taco in Reston.
That is true. There is Bar Taco, and that's all we have in Reston.
Bar Taco's so good.
And an Apple
Oh my
store.
gosh.
That's
Nobody
why
goes
you
to an
come
Apple
here.
store.
No,
No.
it seems like you
Raise
just
your hand if you have an iPhone.
no.
Yeah.
I go to Apple stores all the time just to put horrifying pictures on all their iPhones. It's like, is this? Oh my God, this nipple's huge.
Oh, Keith.
I just trying to ruin it for the kids. That's all.
Well, the podcast opens with "Don't waste my motherfucking time."
Yeah. So, Maryjo, my understanding is that you have a pretty exciting show coming up as well. Saturday, July 1st at the State Theater in Falls Church. Tell us a little bit about that.
That is correct. I am going to be performing along with many other very talented female-fronted acts at the first annual Hera Music Festival.
So this is the first one ever, first annual.
First one ever.
Very cool.
How
At
can
the
it be
State Theater.
first annual? Hasn't annualed yet.
That's fair, but the intention, I think the intention is for it to be annual.
It's like World War One. You can't call it World War One
That's
until
right.
World War
Oh,
II.
so we
Right,
should just
right.
call it the Great Festival.
Yeah.
There you go.
The festival to end all festivals.
We'll have another one in 40 years.
Yes. So it is for actually a nonprofit called Project Hera.
That is correct.
And my understanding, you were telling me about this, basically to benefit young female musicians and get them more involved in the music scene and in music in general.
Among other things, I think it's also just supporting the idea of females in music broadly. So more established musicians and those just getting started out, and networking and a support system.
Yeah.
And for kids and young women.
It's a lot of people don't know it's the sister organization for Hera, right? Which is just for dudes trying to do music.
I got
It's,
that.
Which is basically everything else in the world.
Yes. Some people call it the Academy. That's the. But yeah, so a really cool organization. Have they been around for a while? Or are they just now forming with their first festival?
It's a fairly new organization, but I'm sure the idea has been in Kathy DeToro's brain for a very long time. She's the person who has spearheaded the whole initiative.
Okay.
And she is, among other things, she's in the Leg Warmers. She is
Uh-huh.
in Party
Okay.
Like It's. She has her own group called Kathy and the Can't Evens.
Nice.
So yeah, she's another,
Tell her
very
to stop being so
multi-talented female performer in the area.
So, Kathy, if you're listening, just call me. Let's have you on the show. It sounds like you've got a lot of really cool things going on.
And share the wealth. Jeez, why don't you invite me to be in one of your 47 bands? Damn. I got the hair.
Yeah, it's true. You got curves.
Yeah. I got curls.
So I think that's fantastic. So you've got a long. How long is the festival for? Do you know time
The
wise?
festival begins, if I'm not mistaken, at like 4 p.m.
Wow.
and continues until
night.
about 1 a.m.
Oh, that'll.
There is a continuous lineup of female-fronted bands from 4 till 1.
Oh, that's so
That's
cool.
badass.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they managed to pull this all together.
Yeah, that's very cool. So we're gonna play a song of yours later in the show called "We Were Here." Right. If people are interested in Maryjo's music, you can fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show right now. Listen to the entire track. Come back and join us right here at this point in time. You can also go to www.maryjomattea.com. That's MATTEA.com. And listen to some more tracks, I assume, that are up there, and other shows that you have coming up as well.
Apparently, you cannot access this website from work, however.
Oh, yeah.
From some works. I
Some
can't
works.
remember who
It's
it
not
was.
safe
I
for
think
work,
it was a
ladies and
government person who said, by the way, I can't go to
The
your
government
website
has
at
deemed
work.
this website unsuitable for the workplace.
The government
Unsavory.
thinks my website is not savory.
The music is just too darn sexy. That's the problem. You have to tone it down. Not so much of the sax. The da 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 da. That's the government's like, no. We can't have any of that. I'm sorry.
That is far too much. Far too much.
So hopefully you will be willing to join us for some of our bits tonight, and you don't walk out at this moment. You've got, like, you just come in and you're like, I got a band, mic drop, and just walk out.
We're doing the show. Bye.
and done.
So are you game for some ridiculousness that we have on the show?
Sure, I drove all the way to Reston.
Well, you probably weren't expecting ridiculousness in Reston.
You could have gone straight to Bartaco. We wouldn't have blamed you.
Well, we'll start with one of our favorite little segments. This is something we call the Weather Report.
So Keith and I slaved for hours over the interwebs, and we found a whole bunch of news stories that we think are remarkable in some way, but usually they're mostly just stupid, and you get to decide whether or not they should have been news. This is pretty recent stuff happened more or less in this past week.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I was actually really impressed by the name. So to pull back the curtain for a second, we usually don't talk about our kind of schedule and the things that we're doing on the show. But Victor finds pride in making witty names for different stories on the show. So Victor, would you like to share this first one? Because I think you're pretty happy with this one.
Well, read the headline. Read the headline.
Read the headline. All right, let's see. Where's my headline on this? Ferndale construction shop went up in flames while owner was getting coffee with fire chief.
And I named it Fireny.
Oh.
Yes. So apparently this gentleman actually was at the coffee shop talking to the fire chief. When he arrived back at his shop, it had burned to the ground. So, in the famous words of what's her name?
Alanis?
Alanis Morissette. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
The best part is that in her song, none of the things she says are ironic.
But
they just suck.
But that's what's ironic.
That's the most ironic part.
Right. She had you. She knew it. She was way out ahead of you in the game. See?
So
Women are
why did the place burn down? Does it say?
Fire. Yeah. That's what they tracked it down. They weren't sure at first. they thought maybe it was maple syrup. They tracked down and there was
Possibly
no maple syrup
wall of molasses
on the scene. No, it was absolutely fire. It'd be great if it was firefighters. Right? Like they were like, he took our chief from us. We have to show him who's boss. And they're like, we were just getting coffee. Oh, we thought you kidnapped him.
So you burned your place to the ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they've actually come into what actually started it. I didn't see. I think they're probably still going to be investigating it for a while.
I really hope it was like some code violation, some blatant code violation, and the fire chief walked in. The guy was like, "Nope, haven't fixed that yet. Want to go get coffee instead of inspecting my place?"
They definitely said. Let's see. The only recognizable piece of the was a charred exhaust stack sticking out of the rubble.
Wow, they didn't even try to put that out.
It was completely gone.
Nice.
So the question now, it's obviously a tragedy, and it's definitely ironic. Is it news, Maryjo?
Yes.
Yeah!
Nice.
Woo! Winning, starting with number one.
All right, I got one for you. Boy becomes superhero for a day, saves, quote, quote, Chicago. It was a Make-A-Wish Foundation granted this kid his wish. He's got some sort of congenital heart disease. He wanted to be a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
So they planned lots of little battles around Chicago with him, and he went from block to block fighting his favorite villains like the Joker and Victor Von Doom, and he dressed up as a superhero.
How cool is that?
So
We all want to do that. That's the thing.
That's wonderful.
I know.
It's wonderful, but
and all you have to do is get congenital heart defects to become a superhero.
It was a little black boy, and his superhero name was Super Black. Like,
God.
Kid, I realize this is your
that?
whole
Okay.
This is like your whole Make-A-Wish.
No, that was the only costume they had.
I'm just checking.
You're gonna
I'm
have to
just
go with
checking.
this one.
Sorry, kid. But like, I realize this is your whole Make-A-Wish thing, but you're walking the streets of Chicago and your name is Super Black, you're gonna get super shot.
Do you think that
I
kid...
think it's news because it's remarkable he didn't die.
That's it, right. So what you're
Yet.
saying...
Oh, Mary Jo.
Maybe that's what it was. He was like, I'm super black. My one superpower is I'm bulletproof. And they're like, that's fair. That's a really good one to have because it seems like it's tumultuous times right now. Although, do you think the kid at any point in time was like, there's no way I'm beating these supervillains? I literally have a heart condition.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a good villain if you can beat up by a kid with a heart condition.
Did you even try?
Right? Like, don't pull your punches. It'd be great if he was like, get back up! You get Get back, come and fight like a man.
So what do you think?
It is
news.
Yes, it is a heart touching. It is a dream come true for
And somewhat ironic.
and maybe perhaps a little ironic, but is it news?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like her.
Oh. See?
Let's go with yeah. I think that's wonderful.
Is there a reason? Do you have a reason why?
Just because I think that's a great wish
Just
that
delightful.
he had granted.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's not enough positive news out there.
Yeah,
so
I was
this
gonna
is,
say.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's not 100% positive because the boy is still terminally ill.
well,
It's a life-threatening condition.
But
It's
I
not
don't know.
necessarily he's terminally ill.
That gave me the warm fuzzies. I liked it.
Aw. And hey, it's a black guy roaming the streets of Chicago, beating people up, and it's a good thing. I like
I just hope they come out with a movie of Super Black. Like,
It's just this
that would
kid
be a
being real
blockbuster.
angry.
Yeah, like that would be fantastic. It's just different strokes, but with a cape. All right. Next up, the cash-strapped city of Houston is selling off $2 million worth of city streets. That's right.
What?
You can go and buy a Houston street right now. Now, I know that doesn't sound as cool as you might expect. I mean, you get an allotment somewhere, right? Like,
Is this like Adopt a Highway or something?
no,
or?
it's like you can actually buy an easement that they have had as government property, and now you own that easement. So a lot of it has been
So you could have you can buy a street in the nice part of town and just let it go to shit.
right. So a lot of it has been landowners buying back land that's adjacent to their land, which is not as cool. Obviously, that's not a great story. Here's my take on it. Right, we're in the Washington D.C. area. What I'm thinking is, what if instead you went and bid on an easement that ran along the side of the Houston Texans football stadium, and then just put up Redskin signs the whole way.
You dick.
It's like, this is my land here, right here. We got this. So I think there's ways that you could cause a lot of trouble in Houston.
It's like the natives fighting back finally.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So it is nice to be able to extend your land a little bit more and maybe toy with the people of Houston. The question is it news?
I don't know if I'm gonna call that news.
No, Keith.
You buy a piece of Houston?
I mean, it's like a real estate announcement. I don't know that I would consider that.
No, but it's really useless to you,
Topical.
real estate.
Yeah, even worse.
You're not winning here, Keith.
What? That was supposed to be good.
Put the shovel down.
Oh, all right.
Stop digging deeper. Let's see. Oh, free tickets. Baby born on Jet Airways flight gifted free air tickets for life. Now, that's pretty cool. Apparently, that is a consistent thing that many airlines do. So if you're born on their airline, lots of them aren't quite as generous as this. This was an India-based flight, but a lot of the times they'll give you you get a million free airline miles or free flights until you're 21, something like that. So I'm thinking I'm going to be really irresponsible and book a flight 9 months into this pregnancy.
You're not pregnant.
I thought legally you're not
Shut up.
allowed to fly if you're past a certain point.
Yeah. I mean, if you're born,
Apparently not.
you have to get another seat. That was really the thing.
I've just known many pregnant women,
if you're
and there's
more than,
a
8 months
cutoff
pregnant,
date.
something
They
like
won't
that.
let you on the plane.
How uncomfortable does that have to be? Because I've gone on a plane. I am not a small man. I admit that. And then I'll be sat next to another large man, and we'll touch shoulders the whole time. And it's oh, this is not fun at all.
Meanwhile,
Now I'm thinking the
there's
guy.
placenta
Yeah,
spilling onto your shoe.
The guy next to me, instead of a heavier, rotund man, is now a woman giving birth, and I'm like, oh, can you not touch me right now? I'm trying to.
Could you maybe
watch-
keep it down?
Just Can we get her a drink or something? Is it
You can now.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The flight was only 2 hours long.
Could it also have been because it was an Indian flight? That this is maybe an American
Oh, yeah.
rule?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, possibly.
It could
Anyway, sorry.
be. It's just a rule of thumb.
I'm really picking this one apart.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it was a 2 hour flight and the child was, so
That's a really fast labor.
yeah, the
It
woman
is.
walked on, went up in the air, gave birth, and they had to, veer the plane so that they could land and get her to a hospital. But
I have a theory. Did they check her carry-on before she went on? I'm just saying.
why is your bag moving? Shut up! Shut up!
Oh, I had a baby. I had a baby that needs free flights.
Free flights for life.
Why is
That's
it
pretty
so-
badass, though. That kid's like, he's like 80 years old, walks onto the airplane. It's like, or walks into the airport. I need a ticket to whatever. Like, that'll be this much. Actually, no, it won't.
The problem is that then you have to explain it every time.
Well, whatever. I would rather explain that every time than pay the several $100.
No, for the record, here's the problem, okay? Anytime that you apply for like a passport or like a background investigation, they're going to say, where were you born? And
you just point up.
you can't tell them. You don't know where you were.
That's fascinating.
Right? Like at that point, you're like, I was
You were
on
in someone's
a
airspace.
plane. Like I was over the Atlantic. I don't know what.
Jet Airways.
Yeah. What do you write
Flight
down?
219.
Just it's like long story.
Don't worry about it. Just shh. So what do you think, Mary Jo? News?
If for no other reason than that's just a truly fascinating anecdote.
Conundrum.
Yeah.
Suck on that, Keith.
Yeah, let's go with yeah.
I helped you make it news. I should have shut up. All right.
We're not competitive at all.
Not at all. All right, super quick. I think this is very important. I'd like to, both of you can be involved in this. I'd like to do some quick word associations for you. Okay? I'm going to say 3 words. After each word, you just give me the first thing that comes to your head. Okay? First word, flare.
Bar taco.
No, you
What?
didn't even wait for
I
me
didn't
to
even
say
hear
Sorry.
the word.
My
Yeah, see? You're supposed to not talk over me.
Sorry.
Okay. Flare.
Bar taco.
You knew what you were going to say before you even said it.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's that restaurant in Office Space.
TGI Fridays, or I think what was Ruby Tuesdays? Is that the one?
Yeah.
One of those.
There's like a fictional version of that
Yeah.
in the movie Office Space. That's what
she
I'm
needs
thinking
like
of.
10 pieces of flair.
Yeah,
Exactly, which is
Okay.
not a word at all. It's I think I know this thing and I can't remember it. but
Right.
that thing. That's my word.
That idea. I'll
Whatever
take
that word is.
So both of you picked restaurants, one ironically and one with a perfectly relevant connection. All right, next one. Brilliance.
Me.
Beach ball.
A beach ball. Okay, that's good. Okay, so you and a beach ball. Last, genius.
Baby.
Genius baby. Okay.
Scientist.
Okay. So here is what I would like to put up for argument. Cambridge University examiners have been warned against using the words such as flair, brilliance, and genius when assessing students' work because they are associated with men.
What?
That is, an academic has revealed this.
They're saying the word genius is sexist?
Yeah. If you say, oh, this particular essay was genius, then you're being like, you're a dude. Which I don't know. Is that
I would want to know. I don't know. I am actually an academic in my day job, so I would need to read the methodology on that one.
Yeah, seriously. They're being more sexist in calling that sexist than it is in itself.
It seems weird that, I mean, I'm obviously not a woman. I can't speak for women. I accept that. And
I can't. This is stupid.
but I don't know a lot of women that would like turn in some type of a report or something and get back and say, this is brilliant. It has a flair of genius. And they go, son of a bitch, he thinks I'm a man. Like, I think
Again, at first listen, that does sound ridiculous.
Right, like if you got that,
but
you'd
I
be
am
like,
intrigued, and I kind of want to read what that's based on.
Well, there you go. That was on the Independent in the UK. You can go check that out. And I think brilliance is like diamonds and flair is TGI Fridays. So I don't know. So there's a little bit of miscommunication maybe happening here. But the question is it news?
I think it's clickbait.
It's clickbait. But that is a word associated with men. You can't use that when describing a story.
Give me the shovel.
Fine.
All right, this next story, I titled it, Guac is Extra. 3 men arrested for avocado theft. $300,000 worth of avocado theft.
Is there $300,000 worth of avocados?
I don't think there are that many avocados in the world. How much? Okay, I guess it varies upon season. But 3 men in California have been arrested on suspicion of grand theft of avocado
Grand
after
theft
the
avocado.
disappearance of $300,000 worth of the produce. Carlos Chavez, Rahim LeBlanc, and Joseph Valenzuela were arrested on Wednesday. We take these kinds of thefts very seriously, Sergeant John Franchi. Okay, now I'm realizing that all these names are made up.
This is not even a real news story. Don't listen to him. When he asks you if it's news, you have to say no because it's not real.
It's fake news.
He just made it up.
Oh, no. Apparently, avocado prices have surged in recent months owing to the diminishing avocado crop in California and Mexico and increased demand for avocados worldwide, especially now that there's $300,000
less? Did they just find a big pile of pits
How
somewhere?
do you steal that many avocados?
Yeah, I don't know.
In your pants. We've learned this is how people steal things on the show.
They disguise it as drugs, and because we've had a series of people disguising drugs as produce.
Yeah.
How do you steal produce? You disguise it as drugs.
No, that's what you do. You just take the avocados, you put them in a truck, you go over the border, and they go through the avocados, and they go, oh, yeah, $300,000 worth of avocados. We'll see about that. And they cut one open, and they go, these are fucking avocados. And they go ahead. Like, we thought that they were going to be, they were cocaine in the shape of avocados. We don't know what's happening now.
It's the one food in the whole world that I cannot eat.
Really? Why?
Yep. I throw up immediately.
Well, that's not good.
Nope.
Same color.
Yep.
I mean, so we know that that Victor would not be able to eat $300,000 worth of avocados.
Let alone
But this
one.
is why guac is extra. I'm convinced.
Yeah, but is it news?
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
maybe not news.
Damn it.
Oh!
There goes my streak.
Oh, I can tie it up here. This is it for all the avocados. I think I've got you on this one.
Fine.
Yeah. So this one's kind of interesting. A homeless man has been sentenced to house arrest for using and selling drugs in Istanbul. Take a moment, let that sink in.
A homeless man, say that one more time.
A homeless man has been sentenced to house arrest for using and selling drugs in Istanbul.
Is that the one that used to be Constantinople?
What?
See?
Why is he on house arrest?
I assume he's
he
allowed
has no house.
He's allowed to go
Exactly.
anywhere, I assume. Right? They just go, wander. Just all of this is your house. Everything, either that or it's a stay on that grate. Like, I don't know what.
Why did they decide for
Yeah.
house arrest?
They can't. Now, what he did is he apparently gave them an address where is like, he said, I don't have a home address, but this is about where I sleep. And they went, okay, like, don't leave that 2-block area then. That's your house.
Wow.
Yeah. He's not allowed to leave.
Real effective police work there.
I was gonna say that the news part is more about the idiocy of the sentencing,
Right.
not about the guy who broke the law.
No. You kind of go, you were selling and using drugs. I mean, I get that. You're homeless and that kind of sucks. And then
Go home.
Yeah, then it's,
Go home and stay
yeah,
there.
they're like, go home and stay there.
About that.
They were like, I think you're using drugs now.
Yeah.
I really don't understand what I'm supposed to do.
I'm guessing the selling part was actually him selling it to the judge at the time.
Right.
This stuff is good, man. You know what? Go home. You just stay home.
Dude, I live in a pile of dudes.
He's also a homeless man and a pile of dudes.
Not great competition.
We know that it is physically impossible, but the question is it news?
Yeah, let's go with yes for that
All right.
Tied it up at the buzzer. Woo! Came in sliding into home in the bottom of the 9th. It's all
Take
tied
your
up.
shovel back. I don't want it anymore.
I failed so many times and somehow still pulled it off. All right. So thank you for making me not lose. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate that.
Well, I'm not speaking to you for like 15 seconds. 15 seconds.
Oh, that's so rude.
Not you.
Oh, okay.
It's all about you, isn't it, Keith?
Yes.
I was Viewers can clearly see that I was looking at Mary Jo.
We need webcams just at your face.
Your mom's a webcam.
That's true. And that's why I get free webcams for life.
Anyway, moving on.
So we are talking to Maryjo from Maryjo and a Pile of Dudes. How many dudes does it take to make a pile? That's the important hard
Well,
question.
two, I
that's an
guess.
interesting story because the first show that we ever played as Maryjo Mattea and a Pile of Dudes, only one of the dudes was available.
Okay.
And I said, like, should we call this something different? And he was like, hell no. I am a pile. I constitute a pile of dudes. So I said, all right. So really, I think it's just a matter of like me and whoever else happens to be there.
It was Pile of Dude. I'm just saying.
Pile of dudes.
Like, best case scenario. There's no way he's Pile of Dudes. He is Pile of Dude. And
That doesn't sound very sexy.
Right.
I don't know.
Sorry.
He's a pretty talented musician. I think if he believes that he is a pile in and of himself, more power to him.
I believe that's a diagnosis at that point. If you think you're a pile of something. So how many dudes usually make up a pile?
Usually the pile consists of Scott Manley on drums, Seth Spalding on bass, Josh Hunter on guitar, and Melanie Cohen on backing vocals.
Hold on for a second. I'm not going to assume gender here, but Melanie doesn't sound like she would be a dude.
Melanie is a dude, and I'm using air quotes, in that she is a member of the band
The dudes.
Pile of Dudes.
All right.
I'm a dude. She's a dude. He's a dude.
Yeah.
We're a pile of dudes. Hey,
Precisely.
Yeah. I hope that like on Tinder, she actually goes as a dude. They're like, I don't know what to do right now. I think,
Well,
let's give it a shot.
I'll give you a good one. Josh Hunter is actually a fairly new dude.
Okay.
He replaced a guy named Jason Mendelson, who plays in a million different projects.
Yeah, I know
in the
Jason.
area. I was going to say you've probably heard his name.
Well, we had
before.
him here.
Did you?
He released his
Metro
last
Songs?
Metro Songs album. We had him come share that.
Yeah,
I
so
have them all in my car.
because he's a very busy man,
Yes.
I was like, we'll find another dude. Don't worry about it. And so Josh Hunter, who also plays with me in a different band called Color Palette, he joined the group, and we're at a party at my house, and somebody comes up to him and says, "Hey man, what's new?" And his reply was, "I'm a dude now." And
Oh, good for you.
I just started cracking
I
up.
didn't
I was like,
realize
there
you
was
were-
no context to that statement.
So you mentioned Color Palette, which is another project you're in. You have a
Yes.
few projects that you're doing.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about those.
Color Palette is a 5-piece electro rock band here, also in DC. And then I also play in a 2-person garage rock duo called Two Dragons and a Cheetah.
All right, very cool. Is that kind of the White Stripes this
You
kind of
guys just
feel,
like
or-
lists, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. In reverse, though, since I play guitar and sing,
Right.
and the drummer is a guy.
Okay, very cool.
And then finally a Beatles tribute act
Ah, nice.
with a guy named Dan Walker who lives up in Baltimore, and also Scott Manley, who is one of the dudes.
Oh, all right.
There's a lot of like
Incestual dudes.
incestuous
Yeah.
cross band membership.
Well, sometimes you need a little help from your friends.
Right.
Oh, that was such a good pun. I do love a good
You're
Beatles
welcome.
pun.
So very cool. But the one that we're really excited about is the Pile of Dudes, obviously. And we're going to take a listen to a song here. You guys are playing Saturday, July 1st at the State Theater.
That
which
is correct.
Falls Church. Hera Music Festival, first time ever. All female-fronted bands all day long. And this is a song I assume you're going to be playing at that show.
That would be a fair assumption.
Probably. So here's a sample of a song called We Were Here.
Another week starts, another broken heart. Guess that's how the story goes. The laughter and the cheer.
Oh, yeah, get that tambourine going.
There's not enough tambourine in music, is there?
Nope.
I'll be honest, the dudes don't sound like they're doing much.
Not
all
yet.
you.
They're like just hanging out and being like, "You got this. You take this one. Go for it." That's great. There's a lot of really great energy there. Is that kind of typical of the music that you do? I mean, obviously all bands have tracks here and there that differ, but is that kind of the mainstream of what the band does?
Yeah, I'd say that's fairly representative. When people ask me what kind of music I play, I tend to just say pop rock, which is sort of a generic catch-all term. But
sure.
in a way, like what else would you call that?
I think this is more pop rock than actual Pop Rock's Candy.
Cricket. Cricket.
No, I think when most people say pop rock, it probably isn't. Like, it doesn't have that kind of, this puts a smile on your face and it kind of gives you some energy. It's danceable. Those are the kind of qualities I think of when I think of pop rock.
I think of like melodic.
Yeah.
You know, easy on the ears, pop sensible, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. So this is great. So not only would people be able to come see you on July 1st, but they should probably bring their dancing shoes and get ready to kind of run around and actually dance to the music.
Hell yeah.
So what is it that got you into doing pop rock? Like, did you have artists that you kind of looked up to before?
It's probably incidental because I think I started writing songs when I was like 13 or something like that. And over time, you know, you have this like collection of stuff that you've created, and then you start actually getting to a point where you can play it out with people and stuff like that. And it's like other people that start to recognize the theme. And it's, you know, from my perspective, I'm like, oh, it's just something that came out of my head.
Oh, gotcha.
You
Yeah,
know, I don't
creating.
know where it came from most of the time. Sometimes maybe, but like most of the time it's just like, oh, it's just some idea I had or whatever. And somebody goes, oh yeah, I can definitely see the theme in your work or that kind of thing. And you're just like, really? Oh, cool.
Do you categorize your music by band though? Like as you're writing something, do you go, this is more of a Pile of Dudes music and this is more of a Two Dragons and a Cheetah music? And
I think that initially maybe not. And now that I've had both acts for a long enough period of time, I probably do now, where I say like, oh, this seems a little dirtier and grungier and darker.
Yeah.
So that'll be a Two Dragons and a Cheetah song.
Oh, okay.
Whereas like this is a little more like lighthearted and pop sensible. So let's do that with the dudes.
So you're refining the sound as you go.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Well, again, that was the song We Were Here. If you enjoyed that snippet, fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this podcast. You can take a listen to the entire track and then come back here and you can join us for This Week in History.
Yay! So,
yes.
This week in history, we found a series of events that we find historically relevant or not. Some of them are just dumb, as usual. So we're going to list off a couple things that happened in and around this date throughout the years. And at the end, you can decide what's the most relevant of all the things.
Yeah, what is the most historically important to you or your sensibilities?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
So we like to go in chronological order. So
Which
first
we've
up-
split up again.
Perfectly, right. Well, I got all of the 1880s.
All right.
So in 1812...
which is
the War of 1812 happened, which is basically the last time that the two bullies in the backyard in the playground, the United States and Britain, slugged it out, and finally they came out and were like, all right, that was kind of an even brawl. Are we cool now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're cool. It was
which one of us is super black?
Right. I feel like you were pulling your punches. But it was all about the United States saw an opportunity to gain some land in Canada. So they were like, yep, doing that. Because we don't like England right now. There's still a pile of dudes we don't like. So, and then England, like, pretty much smacked the shit out of the United States and beat them back into the original colonies and signed a treaty right before, like, you know, they didn't get the text message in time or the email or the memo or whatever. And the battle for New Orleans was like a sound victory for the United States. So that ended the War of 1812. Basically, the war ended, then we won that victory, and then we had the confidence from that victory forever.
And
We're
then
still cocky as hell from that. That's
and
why
then-
America is like sticking its dick in everybody's business always.
Yeah, and then a Russian guy wrote an overture about it.
Yup.
Yeah.
The overture.
cannons.
What's it called again?
Oh, what is it? What's the name of that overture?
The 1812.
Oh, yeah. And
I thought it was William Tell. It wasn't the William Tell one? No.
Nope. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
No. Mm.
Let's see. In 1884, the very first roller coaster was opened in the United States on Coney Island.
You know it had to be shitty, right?
Let's see. It traveled approximately 6 miles an hour and cost a nickel to ride.
Yeah.
It was such an instant success. By the turn of the century, there were hundreds of roller coasters.
But it probably only went like 40 feet.
40 feet, 6 miles an hour. Like, well, that's walking pace. That's a brisk walk. That's a jog.
It was just people pushing from behind. They weren't even- they probably
Maybe your feet had to dangle out the bottom and you had to like run
like the
like the
Flintstones.
Flintstones.
Oh, God.
Like, this is great. Here, have another nickel. I need exercise.
Well, the roller coaster was so successful that in the following year, the French gifted us the Statue of Liberty in 1885.
Uh-huh.
So that arrived in New York Harbor.
I'm sure that's exactly why they gifted the Statue of Liberty.
Well, the first roller coaster was in Coney Island.
Yeah, it's really close by. I
And
bet the
then-
French went to Coney Island. They went on the roller coaster, and from the roller coaster, they could see on Liberty Island that pedestal, and they thought,
What if we...
what could we put on that pedestal?
A big naked lady! She can't be naked.
Ah,
All right, just put her in like a robe or something.
Why do they have to be such pure?
Can she have some fire? Yeah, fire.
fire?
But the dismantled Statue of Liberty arrived in the harbor on this date in 1885. I'm wondering...
What you're saying is the original IKEA.
Uh-huh.
Like, they're
I'm
like,
wondering
Here's
if
all the parts. It's a
all
Allen
the pieces
wrenches.
arrived at the same time. Like, all right, so we're missing the midsection. We got the top built and the bottom
Right.
part. Where's her like abdomen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sank. Sorry, that ship sank. We're done here. So the Statue of Liberty is actually
Supposed to be
That's
taller.
why she's 5'2" in proportion. She was supposed to be 6'2". Not anymore.
No, feet didn't arrive.
Anyway,
What
moving
I'd like to
on.
find out is that later we find out that they put it all together wrong, and they're like, Steve, did you read the instructions? Like, no, I thought I could do it. I really felt it seemed obvious. Like, God damn it! All right, get the
Why did we let Steve do it? We've seen his kitchen table.
how big did that have to be? Those that big instructions. Why is it even in Chinese?
We're missing
I
a
don't
bolt.
even-
We're missing a bolt. God damn it.
Why do we have it in Spanish? There's only one person that's going to assemble these, and they're all American. Why are we doing this in other languages?
Well, they built it in France.
Yeah.
Took it apart and then rebuilt it in the United States. I wonder how many extra parts they had after. You know?
Yeah, that's like one bolt,
can't
and the
take
guy's
them
like,
through.
"Oh, this is scary."
Does it seem to rattle more when the wind blows?
The most impressive part is they built it from the top down. When they came in, the
Oops.
Americans are just going, "How are they doing that? That's amazing."
Hold it. Keep holding it. So, fast forwarding to 1892, a bloody fingerprint elicits a mother's evil tale in Argentina. Francesca Rojas' 2 children were killed in their home in a small town of Necochea, Argentina.
Okay.
According to Rojas,
Yeah.
a man had threatened her earlier in the week,
Okay.
and since she rejected his sexual advances, and she pinned it on some like a neighborhood drunk, who he had come in, murdered her children, and left. But the police found a bloody fingerprint on the door in the children's room. And this was one of the first occasions where they used fingerprinting to identify somebody.
Really?
Photography was really expensive, so they
Yeah.
had this whole different process. Rather than photography, photographing, getting them developed, and in those days, finding like a specialist who would do it, they had a different process of analyzation.
Nailed it. That's probably how it's said.
Yep. To analyze, and they caught her. They were like, this is your bloody fingerprint, and she freaked out and confessed. And yeah, after that, it was like,
Yeah.
This works. We could do that shit.
We could probably,
They were
catch
all-
some other criminals
Yeah.
this way.
Right. I
They
love
were-
what it was some comedian said, like, how the hell do they solve crimes before DNA? And he says, like, Captain, we found a pool of the killer's blood in the hallway. And he just goes, gross. Now back to my hunch. You know?
Yeah, they were also able to tell that it wasn't the homeless drunkard guy because he was on house arrest. Yeah,
Right.
that is true.
Bringing
He
it
was
full
confined
circle.
to his he was confined to his block there.
Well, I think I've got what's going to take the cake. This by far easily the most historically important thing that has happened this week in history. In 1893, J.W. Ruckheim invents this popular confection known as Cracker Jack. Look, there's literally in songs.
That's a
It's-
stupid song.
It's not a great song, but that's not the point. It has a song. And so it was introduced to the public in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. There you go. Yeah.
Did they have a prize in it?
Yeah, the prize was this is the first time anyone's eaten Cracker Jack.
Whatever, Keith. Whatever.
It just had a little thing like, do you like me? And you had to check yes or no. We fast forward to 1939. You may not know this, but in 1939, Atlanta, Georgia was the first major U.S. city, to ban pinball.
I did not know that.
The
Why
illicit,
would you do that?
the illicit game of pinball. It imposed a fine of $20 and 30 days of public work. I assume because
If you played pinball?
yeah, because of the evils of pinball. I don't know.
There was probably like a witchcraft thing.
Yeah.
Pinball wizards.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe
Sentence
it's
to life.
similar to like, from Tommy and the Pinball Wizard.
Yeah. I don't know, but apparently they really hated pinball.
Or like Music Man, how they hated pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe people were betting on it. I don't know. In 1992, which is quite a bit later in time or earlier
A
in
hop,
time.
skip, and a step.
Yeah. Not our best year
Oh, I
as
think I know
a
what this one's
country.
going to be.
Vice President Dan Quayle misspells potato. How do you spell potato? Victor, go.
P-A-T-A-T-A-T-O-I-I-N-G.
You could be potato.
E-I-E-I-O.
Right. Tater tot. You could be vice president of the United States. That was in an elementary school spelling bee, by the way. And all the kids were like, oh my God, he is so dumb.
I'll prove you wrong.
Right. He gets knocked out in the first round. The kids are like, I don't know how I did on the test, but I totally beat the vice president in spelling. So I think I can go out this evening. This weekend, I think I'm not grounded. What did you learn in school today? I'm smarter than the vice president of the United
Right.
States.
They all knew that. They're like, that's the vice president right there. P-P-O-T-A-T-I-O-N-I-E-I-E-I-O. No!
No.
How did he spell it? I don't think I know the whole like, oh, Dan Quayle misspelled potato, but
Yeah.
what did he spell? How did he spell it?
I believe he spelled it with an E at the end. If I remember correctly, P-O-T-A-T-O-E.
So he almost had like,
He should have just stopped.
everybody could have started clapping.
Right.
And he would have been like, oh, I'm done.
See,
Oh.
I don't blame this on Dan Quayle at all. I blame it on the Secret Service, who should have tackled him before the E. like P-O-T-A-T-O.
Potato! You're done.
W-Q. Like, no, that doesn't count. It wasn't in the microphone. Just putting his hand over his mouth.
It's an E! What?
No. We have to go now, kids.
Winner! Ding!
Right.
Too smart to be vice president.
We have a red alert. Leave the room, everyone. Evacuation.
I think you've got one more for us in history.
Yes, last but not least, the Ford Bronco becomes very popular in 1994 when everybody watches it ride around because O.J. Simpson's in the back of it. Football Hall of Fame running back is arrested for the murder of his ex-wife and her 25-year-old male friend. Bloodstains have been found in his home, in his car, and he was later found not guilty of the crime.
After a low-speed chase.
Yeah. It's, what's amazing by this is there was a period in time when a black man got away with something, and now it's gone the other direction. You don't even have to do something wrong.
Maybe it's OJ's fault.
Because this week we had the guy, I it's horrible. I totally have blanked on the gentleman's name.
Philando Castile?
Yeah, Philando Castile up in Twin Cities, right?
Yeah.
St. Paul.
Minnesota.
Which is the most insane case. I must be missing something or going completely insane because as far as I know, the guy was like, hey, I just want to let you know, officer, I have a gun over there. It's in the glove compartment. Just want to be really careful. Just letting you know so that you don't get too scared or anything. And he's like, okay, can you give me your ID? Bang, 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 bang. Like, the only reason I told you is so you would not shoot me. Like, that's the worst. Like, he's like, oh, I thought he was going for the gun. And he's like, well, he probably wouldn't have told you first.
Right.
Like,
he wouldn't have informed you of the weapon he was planning to use on
Slight
you.
digression.
Yeah.
Has the NRA said anything about that case?
No, I'm sure they haven't. I'm sure they're probably on the cop side. Like, well, he aimed well. Like, I don't know what they're gonna say.
He used a lot
They're-
of
They're
bullets.
supposed to advocate on the part of all gun owners.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure that they won't say, that was wrong of you to shoot the guy with the gun.
Unless you're black.
Right.
You
Yeah.
should. That sounded like a nasty sneeze there.
You
You
might
should get that
have
checked.
to- Yeah. It sounds like cholera. So
Looking back throughout all these years of
Yes.
So
history,
OJ, yeah, sorry.
what do you think is the most relevant of all of these
Oh.
to you anyway?
Well, so the most relevant to me, I'm going to say is OJ because I actually can remember where I was when that verdict came down. I was in middle school and I was in the school library and we were like watching it on the television. Like
Yeah.
everyone there was watching it on the television. And this was just like, this was the crazy news of the day.
Oh, it
So,
absolutely was. Yeah.
Whereas I was not alive in 1812, even though that probably is the most historically significant thing on that whiteboard up there. I would say personal significance, the OJ thing for sure.
I don't know if you noticed, but I did. There's Cracker Jack there in the middle.
I was
Super-
also not alive in 1893.
Yeah, but you may have.
It was
eaten
pretty
them.
great, I have to say. It was when the Cracker
Yeah.
Jack came around. It was pretty awesome.
Also, in my defense, the Cracker Jacks that were made in 1893 are the ones that are still out there that we're eating. I don't think they've made any new ones.
Just like candy corn.
Yep. Just everybody just passes them along. All right. So you have decided that O.J. Simpson getting arrested for murder and running around in an old Ford Bronco is the most important, historically
Yep.
important thing that has happened this
and
week.
the bloody glove.
And the bloody glove. If it does not fit, you must acquit. Unless, of course, it shrank because it's a bloody glove that's leather. And and you're holding your hand like you're Spider-Man. Like, doesn't fit. Look, that's not how you put gloves on. Like, you don't do it that way. Just watch an isotoner, like, commercial. All
That's
right.
Dan Marino. You got your football players.
Right, but they know each other. They all work in
That's,
hang
that's
out.
true,
They're,
actually.
they're both black and their names rhyme, so.
Yeah.
Dan Marino's not black.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. I'm from South Florida.
When's the last time you checked?
Yeah. You don't know.
Okay, well, their
He's
names
like a
start with
god
the same
down
letter.
where
at
I'm
least.
from.
I would they went to the same office and worked in the same office.
Same amount of syllables in their name. Leave me alone. All
you
right?
don't know anything at all. So I'm going to save you from yourself and I'm going to talk to this lovely woman, Maryjo, because you are an insane person, Victor. We don't have any theme music for this. We totally want theme music, but our engineer Adam is a jerk and won't give us any theme music for anything anymore because he's too busy and highfalutin now that he's died and come back from the dead.
Yeah, we killed him at one point.
Yeah.
He's
It was-
okay.
It was really sad. We found a bloody fingerprint and it didn't match anyone.
And then he confessed to the murder, so.
Yeah, it was nice. He confessed to his own murder.
So, it is time to play one of our favorite games. It is called The Five Senses.
Da 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 da.
Deep, deep, deep. Anyway,
Da 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 da.
it never ends. So this basically we walk you through you walk us through the five senses essentially, and tell us stories related to each sense about what it's like to be a musician, because not all of our viewers have any idea
Science shows
of
that
that world.
our most intense
Viewers, I think you mean listeners.
Yeah, well, if they're blind. So
Well, I mean, there is that camera set up in the corner there.
in the bathroom.
It's there for your protection.
Don't worry about it at all. And that's not even the one we're gonna have you use. We use that one. It's just for us.
This is just getting weirder.
Yeah.
As we do. They have determined that some of the most intense memories that you have are attached to your senses. So let's start with the most dominant of all your senses, the sense of sight. Do you have something incredible that happened, horrible, wonderful, that is something that you saw during rehearsal, recording, shows, touring around?
So one of my bands, Two Dragons and a Cheetah, had to take about a year and a half off because the other half of the band, Joel Woo, took some time off from living like the rest of us to travel the world, which is amazing. And when he got back, he actually moved to Minnesota. So we decided we're still going to do this whole band thing, but it's just going to have to look a little different since we now live in 2 different states.
Yeah. Do you just meet in Ohio to tour?
Exactly. Yeah.
You Skype the other in.
We had planned. I remember what it was. He had to come back to DC to do his taxes. It was like the most boring thing in the world. And I was like, well, while you're here, should we do a show?
Woo!
And he said, yeah. He may have said woo. I don't know. And
his namesake.
So we planned this show at Rock and Roll Hotel, and we were of course the headliner, and we came out for this. And I would just say that the sight of seeing how many people showed up to support this like wacky little project of ours.
Because it was just a one-off show, and so it's like if you don't go tonight, you're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Or you have to go to Minnesota.
Or you have to find us somewhere in the middle of DC and Minnesota, wherever that happens to be.
I assume it's Germany?
Yeah.
Germany.
I can't. To be honest, I have no idea.
I'm not good with geography.
The space-time continuum really doesn't apply to you.
Yeah. That site right there of like people, not just like friends and people that we knew were going to be there, but like people I didn't know, just like, wow,
that's awesome.
You guys knew about this and you showed up. That's amazing.
There were a few people who were a little disappointed because they showed up and they're like, all right, dragons.
Certainly no cheetah.
Jesus. I thought this was going to be a cage fight.
So here's an easy one for musicians. The auditory sense.
Good sound memory. Probably the first time I ever heard a legitimate studio recording of music that I wrote.
Oh, yeah, that must be awesome.
And that would be, I was in a band in Pennsylvania called X Education. We were a 3-piece punk band.
Nice.
And to be honest, I can't remember what the first track I heard back was, but whatever it was, I was just like, this is amazing.
You've gone through the whole gambit. You go from a punk band, you've done garage,
I have a wide
rock.
variety of genres that I that I participate in.
What was it? What went through your head when you heard like it professionally? You hear it over the speakers, and it's like you, but on this professional level.
It's otherworldly. I don't really even have any better way to describe that. Just that there is a distinct quality difference from what I was able to do, at my house, like in my living room, and using really rudimentary computer microphones. This is even before smartphones. So I couldn't even iPhone record a demo.
Yeah, you'd have to have a 2-track somewhere. And
it was really, really, really terrible.
Yeah,
and so
really
like
hard.
there is a very
that
distinct
much more of a
difference.
punch in the face when
Absolutely,
you find polished product.
And all the people you've
and
ever
I
heard.
still feel that way whenever I hear.
Oh my goodness, we've run out of time. We only made it through 2 senses. Okay. We'll have to have you back. You have so many projects. It's going to be simple. We'll have one of your other projects here, and we'll just pretend like you're another person with new senses.
Okay.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
June 29th, surprise attack at Clarendon Grill, Arlington, Virginia. Obviously, Maryjo and a Pile of Dudes, Saturday, July 1st at State Theater in Falls Church for the Hera Music Festival. Go check that out. Please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, share the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Next week, we have Calm the Water in studio. Thanks to Kevin Eminger, to McNally 22, Justin Rogers, Big Metal Records, Alchemical Records, and Engineer Adam for all of their contributions. If you enjoyed the show today, email us at contact@anotherwastedhour. If not, we don't want to hear from you. Thanks to Victor. Most of all, thanks for Maryjo Mattea for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been Another Wasted Hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.
What did the shoes say to the pants?
What?
Sup, britches!
Another week starts, another broken heart. Guess that's how the story goes. The laughter and the cheer, the omnipresent tears. We all get knocked down, but we keep on dancing. Long ago, we dreamt of settling down and thought that happiness would follow in stride. Now I wonder how we could have been so wrong. So let's grab a sixer on a Saturday night, and we'll speculate about the meaning of life and celebrate the fact that we're still alive. Let it be known that we were here. The good times are here and then gone, but we still have to keep moving on. So we'll hold our hands up high while singing along that I was here with you. The unexpected smiles, the errors and the trials, it's par for the course it seems. The sacred and profane, the blindingly mundane. When things fall apart, we'll put them back together. The plot lines always thicken and cross, but the heroes will stay the course. They have each other at the end of the day. So let's grab a sixer on a Saturday night, and we'll speculate about the meaning of life and celebrate the fact that we're still alive. Let it be known that we were here. The good times are here and then gone, but we still have to keep moving on. So we'll hold our hands up high while singing along that I was here we take in stride, the bumps along the ride. We've all heard this tale before. The ones who hold my hand, the ones who understand. I'm never alone with you.